So this is "Come Christians Join to Sing." Hymn. This is the the old Presbyterian hymn book. So you'll notice right off the bat. So when I sit down to play a song, you'll notice that what key it is first. So of course, 3 sharps automatically puts it in key of A, and so you want to kind of like look at the song. All hymns are written mostly in a Baroque style, so it's all just chord, 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 chord across it, with the melody being carried right there in that top line right there. So, and y'all know this song, "Come Christians Join to Sing." So the question is, the way that it's laid out right now, and the way that we normally do this hymn, it's pretty fast. So it's, da da da, da. It's too fast. So for the way that this style that I want to play in, so I want to slow it down. So we're gonna work with it and mess with it and try to get the rhythm so that instead of it playing as fast as the melody is, we slow the melody down. So the next thing I do, kind of get comfortable with the keyboard in the key of A. So you just kind of noodle around in A, find yourself, because you know what A is. So you know your scale, you know your A scale, you know that there's 3 sharps. So you're only going to play those 3 sharps, and you get comfortable playing. Then you think about the song, and you know the song is, so you know that's the melody, that's that motif, that da 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 da. And so right off the bat, the question is, do I want to play it that fast? And I don't want to. I want to slow it down a lot. Okay? So if I'm going to slow it down a lot, then I'm going to do stuff like, I'm going to take it and I'm going to go. So let's see, is there a way we can move the melody or the rhythm so that it'll be slower? So how about, or like that. So we got it slower. So da 2 3 4 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So the original, of course, way that it's written on the page is with just this 2 3 4. And this is with the new rhythm, 2 3 4. So that's that new rhythm that I'm playing right there. So you take that, move it up a little so you can see it, and tighten this down here. So okay, so we've got our main motif in place. Now the next question is, we're going to be looking at I'm going to be looking at the chord, the underlying chords underneath it. So we know that the first one, so we have that A, Christians. We get that D, then that A chord, D, then an E. So you're thinking that A, then the D, A, D, E. Okay, but to make it more interesting, you can use your relative minors inside of it to give it a little bit more flavor. Of course, you want to start it with the A so everybody recognizes it. A, that da. So then you start playing with the the underlying relative keys. So we can go. So there's a relative minor of D, which is the B. So we go down. You go down 1, 2, 3 half steps. So you start with the A, come, then the B minor, and then instead of going back to A, go to C sharp. Okay. Okay. Then back to beginning, or back to the second part. There's that B again. Now don't hit the A, hit the F sharp, which is the relative minor. It gives that weird minor sound. That's something you can throw in. So when you're like kind of noodling through it, so you start with your motif. So a little weird. I don't know if that worked together. Sometimes I adjust some of the threes inside the chords. So I'm adding a lot of inside notes. You're just like, what's going on there? What are you adding in? I'm adding in inside notes to establish the fact that I'm not playing the song in the original tempo. I'm adding tempo notes inside to give it like kind of like a rhythm. So that there's that kind of feel. And you're like, what are you playing right there? And all I'm doing is playing pieces of the chords that I'm falling down on. So you're A, so you know your A chord. So there's an A chord. And then you're like, but you're playing F sharp and G sharp in there as well. And that's because the melody actually goes to, uses that G sharp. So I kind of like, so as long as you can play advanced, you can play the melody in advance ahead of when it actually is going to fall. So you know where the melody is going to fall, but you can play it ahead of time in a lower register as almost like as a foreshadowing of what is going to come in a minute. As long as you don't press hard and accentuate it, you can just play that. So. Too low. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. Next part. What I do there, I'm just coming around the corner. So all I did was do A, and then I did the 6, then the 4, which is D, and then the 5 to prepare it. And I don't know if you can see the high part here. I'm gonna make it so you can see this. Yeah, it'd be really nice to be able to play up here. So back it up a little bit. Like that. Let's see if you can see it right there. Turn it a little bit on. So. Okay, so I messed up by playing that D sharp. Okay, you could hear it immediately. so sometimes I don't want to end on the 1. You know, you don't want to end on on the A exactly. Sometimes you want to end on something that's like weird, to make it sound a little bit more contemporary. So you do that. And then instead of ending on A, I say, is there a chord that has A in it that's not in the key of A that would sound right? And there's a million. So you think of it, you're like, okay, so there's E, you know, E has A in it. There's D that has A in it. But those are too close because they're sharp keys, because D has 2 sharps and E has 4 sharps, so it's like too close. How about let's pull to the other side of the circle of fifths and go into one of the flat keys. So is there a flat key that has an A in it that would sound interesting if I played it as the 1? And you're like, well, anything past, so of course, you know, A flat has A flat. So anything, you have to do something below A flat. So you'd have to pick E flat, or you'd have to pick B flat, or you'd have to pick F or C. Okay, so we could do something C-ish, F-ish to make it sound normal. Okay, so F only has 1 flat. So let's play, what if we played an F chord there? So you do that. Now in F, but we're actually in the key of C because I don't hear the B flat being played. So since the B flat is not going to be played in that sequence, it automatically tells me that that chord is going to be somewhere in the key of C. So we're actually going back 0 flats, 0 sharps. So you do the hum, F, G. G, of course, is the 5 of 1, and the 1 is C. But I don't want to go to C. I don't want to actually fully resolve the entire thing to C. I don't want to do that, because what if I want to play another verse? And if I move the whole thing from a 4-5-1 into C, then I'm going to be like, that screws it up. I'm going to have to like walk it all the way back into A again, which I can, but I don't want to, because that's like a lot of work. So, but F. And then we'll just G it. Put the F sharp in there to make sure that you have that G, that, or maybe not, maybe I'll leave it out. F again. Now we're back, we're at G. And you're like, well, how does it feel about going back to the original key, which is A again? Let's see what it sounds like. So you do that F, it's cool, it's a point modulation, which means we're walking, so we're just inserting an F and a G because it has that the final melody note falls within a chord that is not in the same key. We're borrowing and just moving out of it for a second and then moving back in. I know it sounds weird, but you do. You go. All in F, G. All inversions of G, inversion. Back to the original. A1, I want to do, oh no. Yeah, minor. Sounds weird, but whatever. and then you kind of vamp. I like to vamp in the key of A. This part, this is the chorus part. Okay, so I did that last time. When I resolved on the 6, I played that G sharp and it didn't sound right. So avoid that G sharp for some reason. Back to the 1, no F this time. Play the 4, which is D, then back to 1, A, back to D. So that's one of the ideas. Another thing you could throw in, since you're here, is, so if you look at the song, and this is kind of really strange, but I mean, you're just noodling around anyway, but imagine if there were no sharps. Like, imagine if this was actually just in the key of A minor, you know, or something like that. And you decided you want to play it without the sharps. So it would be... You really might need to get the melody just right. You might want to put a G sharp in there. Then, but only on that one little point there, and then you play the whole thing as though it doesn't have any sharps. I left that out that time. So like A minor, sounds really weird, but it's kind of cool. Okay, and then, so then this next part, play as original. So you played this first part as, in that minor part, that... Then, I don't know, go back to the minor. So there's a bunch of different ideas on how, when I'm noodling with songs, how I come up with different things. Hey, Oscar.
Dad, I can't get